Imagine you're a lion. You're bigger than a man. You're faster than a man. You have claws like knives and teeth that can crush bone. And yet, the moment you catch the scent of a human walking nearby, you freeze. Your instincts scream at you to run. Why? Why would the king of the jungle be scared of a soft, slow, clawless creature with no fangs and no fur? Here's the twist nobody tells you. Ancient humans weren't just another animal on the food chain. They were something the entire animal kingdom had never seen before. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why almost every creature on this planet, lions, elephants, even animals 10 times our size, learn to fear us more than anything else in nature. Stay till the end, because the last part will completely change how you think about ancient humans. Let's rewind. Picture the world 100,000 years ago. No houses, no weapons made of steel, no fire in a lighter you can flick on with your thumb. Just an early human, standing in tall grass, completely exposed, staring at a saber-toothed cat 20 times stronger than him. By every normal rule of nature, that human should have been lunch. He couldn't outrun the cat. He couldn't outmuscle it. He didn't have thick skin or sharp claws. If this were any other animal versus animal matchup, it would be over in seconds. But something strange started happening across the ancient world. Predators that ruled entire continents began avoiding these small, strange, upright creatures. And it wasn't because humans were physically stronger. It was because humans had discovered something no other species had ever figured out. How to become dangerous without being big. Think about it this way. Every animal on Earth fights with what its body gives it. A bear fights with claws it was born with. A wolf fights with teeth it was born with. But humans didn't fight with their bodies at all. They fought with their minds. And that changed everything. The first shock for the animal kingdom came from something so simple, it's almost funny. A sharpened stick. A spear. Suddenly, a human standing 30 feet away could kill an animal without ever touching it. Imagine being a wild boar your entire life, only ever fearing something that could bite or claw you up close. Now imagine pain coming from far away, out of nowhere, for the very first time. That confusion, that fear of an invisible threat, is exactly what began rewiring animal instincts around humans. Then came fire. And this is where things get really wild. For millions of years, every creature on Earth understood one law of nature perfectly. Fire means danger, fire means run. Lightning-caused wildfires had taught every species to flee flames without question. But then, animals started noticing something bizarre. These strange upright creatures weren't running from fire. They were carrying it, controlling it, sitting next to it like it was nothing. Picture a pack of wolves at night, watching from the shadows as a group of humans sits calmly beside a blazing fire, completely unafraid. To those wolves, this must have looked almost supernatural. An animal that tamed the one thing every other creature feared instinctively. That alone would be enough to make predators keep their distance. But here's where it gets even crazier. Ancient humans didn't just use fire to cook or stay warm. They used it as a weapon of terror. Groups of early humans would deliberately set fires to drive massive herds of animals, mammoths, bison, horses, toward cliffs or narrow traps. Imagine being one of hundreds of animals in a stampede, flames roaring behind you, and realizing too late that the ground ahead disappears into a canyon. Whole herds could be wiped out in minutes. not through claws or teeth, but through pure strategy. No predator on the planet had ever hunted like that before. And that's the real secret weapon ancient humans had. Teamwork planned out in advance. A lion hunts alone or with its pride using raw speed. A human hunting group did something far scarier to prey animals. They planned. They surrounded. They waited. They coordinated attacks from multiple directions at once, using signals and timing that no other predator on Earth used. To a deer or a wild horse, this wasn't just a hunt. It was an ambush from an enemy that thought several steps ahead, like a chess player versus an animal that only knew instinct. Now here's something that will genuinely blow your mind. Scientists have found evidence that some of the largest animals to ever walk the earth, giant ground sloths the size of elephants, massive woolly mammoths, huge saber-toothed predators, started disappearing from certain regions shortly after humans arrived there. Not because of some natural disaster, not because of disease, but because a small, clawless, fangless creature had figured out how to hunt them into extinction. Let that sink in for a second. Animals that had survived ice ages, other predators, and massive environmental shifts for hundreds of thousands of years could not survive the arrival of humans with spears and fire and teamwork. Put yourself in the shoes, or rather the paws, of an ancient predator. You've ruled your territory your entire life. Nothing has ever successfully hunted you. Then one day, you see smoke rising over the hill. You see shapes moving together in perfect coordination. You hear sounds, voices, calls, signals that mean something you don't understand, but instinctively know spells danger. Every animal that survived long enough to reproduce learned one lesson fast. Stay away from the creatures with fire and spears and numbers. The ones that didn't learn that lesson simply didn't survive to pass on their genes. This is actually why, even today, so many wild animals have an almost automatic fear response to humans, even ones that have never personally encountered a person before. Scientists have studied this and found that animals across the world, from lions in Africa to bears in North America, react to the mere sound of a human voice with more fear than they show toward the roar of a lion. Think about that. A human voice just talking normally triggers more panic in wild animals than the roar of one of the deadliest predators on the planet. That fear didn't come from nowhere. It was earned generation after generation over tens of thousands of years of ancient humans proving just how dangerous they could be. And here's the part that ties it all together. Ancient humans weren't scary because they were strong. They were scary because they were smart, patient, and united. They figured out that intelligence could beat muscle, that planning could beat speed, that fire, tools, and teamwork could take down anything, no matter how big or fierce it was. In a world ruled by claws and fangs, humans became the most feared hunters, not by growing bigger teeth, but by growing bigger ideas. So here's the powerful truth hiding underneath this whole story. That same instinct, the drive to plan ahead, to work together, to use our minds instead of relying purely on brute force, is still inside every single one of us today. The ancient human who sharpened a stick to survive is the same species that built cities, wrote books, and sent people to the moon. We are still, at our core, the creature that turned brains into the ultimate weapon. Next time you feel like you're the underdog in some challenge in your life, remember this. Ancient humans were the underdogs of the entire animal kingdom. No claws, no fangs, no fur, no raw speed, and yet they became the most feared beings to ever walk the earth, not because of what their bodies could do, but because of what their minds could imagine. So now you know the real reason animals feared ancient humans. It was never really about strength at all. It was about the terrifying power of a creature that could think, plan, and work as one. And honestly, that might be the most human trait of all.